The developing story that's certainly getting mixed reaction following the news of a partial White House demolition. Take a look at this video here because it's causing quite the stir all over social media. The entire east wing of the White House is set to be torn down as part of the president's plan to build a large ballroom.
All right, Melanie Alwick this morning outside the White House once again with more developments on the demolition, the rebuild, the timeline, what people have to say about this, and much, much more. Mel, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Just watching some of the operations here from 15th Street, from the east side of the White House. It is going very quickly. Take a look behind me. We're going to push into just sort of a little window there. You can see the cranes there. They've been working all morning long, the jackhammers, and essentially the east wing is just a pile of rubble at this point. They've been breaking it down into smaller pieces and loading it onto large dump trucks that are then hauling it all away. We've been told by the White House, and it looks like timeline is true, that this complete demolition is going to be done by the weekend. Now, in July, President Trump said the construction of the ballroom would not impact the east wing, but clearly that is not the case as jackhammers in the jaws of demolition cranes tear down decades of history. In the Oval Office Wednesday, President Trump said his architecture team determined that knocking down the east wing but preserving small parts of it was best for the project. Now, once complete, the ballroom is expected to be almost double the size of the main White House and will be able to hold just under 1,000 people. It's another move that's dividing Americans.
He's spending his money and not my taxpayer money. It's okay with me.
I think people were told that it was just going to be in addition to the White House, the people's house. And, of course, this president does whatever he wants to do, and there are no guardrails on him. And this is a historic building. So I'm, very upset, very unhappy, I think, like the majority of Americans.
Now, the White House says that the renovations have been done to the White House and parts of the East Room many, many times over the years, so they feel that this is no different than that. And they say that they don't really need to get these approved because there's no zoning laws that apply to the White House, though some others have said that this is the sort of thing that the National Park and Planning Commission or Congress should have had a say in. The price tag, according to the president, now $300 million. And that's $100 million more than initially told to the American people. He says that he and wealthy donors will contribute to that, so no taxpayer money involved.
Okay, so two quick questions for you, Mel. One, do we know anything about who those donors are or may be? And the second question, and I know this is a huge hypothetical scenario, perhaps, right? But if they're using the argument that they don't need the Planning Commission for demolition, does that mean that theoretically they could demolish any other monument or federal property in D.C. without permission?
Well, that's a good question, Stephen. I think they'll probably litigate that. I believe when I heard the president talking about that, he was talking about within the White House itself, but we'll see. They're always finding loopholes in what people have thought was precedent and law. So, and you mentioned that, I just talked about, there was a dinner on October 15th for what was said to be donors for the ballroom project. So even though the White House has not released an official list of donors, a White House source, an official, did tell the Associated Press that some of the attendees at this dinner were some of the major corporations in America, as you can imagine: Amazon, Apple, Meta, things like that, Coinbase, T-Mobile, and as well as a number of very well-known and very wealthy entrepreneurs and donors. And the president kind of joked. He said to the group, assuming that they were donors, saying that because they are responsible for the project, that they would probably get the first invite to the ballroom. They expect it to be done by 2027. He said to the donors, assuming that I still like you by then. Who knows?